College has become the place hundreds of thousands of students spend the formative years of their adulthood. It's marketed as a place to make friends, learn new things, and have the time of our lives. We hit the books, get the degree, and have an amazing time doing it. But what, behind all these great things, is happening behind closed doors? In recent years, it has become increasingly evident that college is also a critical time for mental health. College students are at some of the greatest risk for depression and suicide. With thousands of new students walking onto campus every single year, parents and students must ask, whose responsibility is student mental health, and are college campuses doing enough to combat this growing epidemic? General health centers have existed on college campuses since the first one was established at Amherst College in 1861. It wasn't until 1910 that the first mental health center appeared at Princeton University to help students with personality problems. Throughout the 20th century, students came to these mental health centers seeking help with existential issues and behavioral problems. The last decade alone, however, has made it clear that college must be equipped with more services to help a generation of more stressed, more depressed, and more anxious students.
State, those changes are evident. Nancy Gorgas, student at Penn State from 1985 to 1991, remembers the conversations she used to have about stress and finals, but doesn't remember much about the access she had to mental services.
Well, I would imagine that there was plenty available. However, while I was there, it was not publicized. You would have to go looking for it if it was something you wanted or needed. I think you talked about stress and how the finals and testing and getting your work done and was talked about and how that affected you stress-wise, but nothing more than that.
When my mom was a student here, Penn State was responsible for ensuring that students had the ability to deal with the stress of exams and schoolwork, something it continues to do today. But in a world where more and more students are entering school with serious mental needs like depression and anxiety, the question remains, are colleges doing enough to provide mental health services to struggling students? And whose responsibility is it in the first place to get those students help?
Do you know where to go get psychological help on campus?
No. No. Not quite, actually.
Possibly UHS.
No, I don't.
I know that we have CAPS.
Yeah, CAPS. It's by UHS, across from Tesco.
Here at Penn State, mental health is being put back into the light. On October 14th, the class of 2016 revealed that their class gift would be an endowment to the Counseling and Psychological Services at Penn State, otherwise known as CAPS. Counseling services here at Penn State are dedicated to serving thousands of students every year through therapy, crisis intervention, and psychiatric services. Most services are free to full-time students. The first step is to make an appointment. Treatment of mental health at Penn State is also being improved by the research conducted at its Center for Collegiate Mental Health. Founded in 2005, this research network includes over 300 colleges nationwide. There is no denying that Penn State is taking great strides to fulfill the responsibility it has to keep students healthy and happy.
So why don't more people go for help? Why is mental health still a stifled problem here at Penn State?
So would you be comfortable going if you needed help?
I think so. Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
Comfortable, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've actually heard that they have a really long waiting list for if you just want to stop in to see them. So I don't know that it would be worth it to go.
You don't have to tell anyone. You can just go in and they'll keep it personal and quiet.
Yes, I would.
Sure.
Probably not. I'd probably seek out other people to talk to.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Probably if I had a problem like that.
Though many Penn State students claim to be comfortable getting help from college resources for mental health, 75% of students experiencing symptoms of depression will never seek help. There's a stigma surrounding mental health that limits students from getting the help they need, though the help is available. It contributes to the responsibility being on colleges to provide help to depressed students, rather than a student being responsible for seeking help for themselves. We as a student community need to realize that we're all in this together and work together to reduce this stigma. Student leaders of the club Active Minds at Penn State are committed to changing the conversation about mental health. Missions like this one show that there are students at college trying to reclaim the responsibility of good student mental health. There are many resources available to students dealing with mental health issues. We're not in this alone. Though the answer to the question of who is responsible for student mental health has shifted over the years, from students to colleges, the mental health problems that lie at the root of this question have increased rather than decreased. As we go forward into the future, the responsibility will have to shift again back to the students if we want to see more students using the services that are now available, rather than suffering in silence with dire consequences.